tell me the introduction. Hi, today I'm gonna ask a couple questions for Danny, and he's like Movers and Shakers Dance Academy director and created founder. How can I say this?
That's good. Yeah.
Everything in one sentence?
Director is fine.
Director?
Yeah.
Okay. So hi guys. Today I'm gonna be asking questions from Danny Kalman. He's creator and director of Movers and Shakers Dance Academy, the biggest academy in Los Angeles. So Danny, my first question, how the idea of creating Movers and Shakers Academy came, and who came up with the name?
It's a great question. I never intended to dance professionally. I actually moved to Los Angeles about 12 years ago to train to compete just because I loved it, and it was completely from the heart, and I always intended to do other things than dancing for compensation. What happened unexpectedly is just after investing so much into my own dance education, it made sense to start sharing that with people. And actually, 12 years ago when I moved here, 11 years ago, I was a personal trainer at Equinox sports clubs. And I said, among many other jobs, to get by. When I moved here, I was homeless for 3 weeks. And then I actually moved into a living room where I lived for 5 years, which is insane when I look back and was way too long. But, you know, I was in my early mid-20s. I was on an adventure. I didn't really care. I just, you know, whatever it took to learn to dance, have great mentors, get into the studio, because that's just what I was passionate about and really loved. So one of the things I was doing at that time was I was a personal trainer at Equinox sports clubs. And I said to my manager, I said, Mike, you know, I dance also. Why don't we run dance programs here? And so we actually, the first ever programs that I taught were at Equinox sports clubs through the personal training department.
Wow.
Which is pretty interesting. That was with Equinox pricing. So Equinox pushes everything way up, which is interesting. And the program was 0 to performance in 12 weeks. So we would meet with them once a week, I think for a couple hours, maybe 2 hours. And at the end of it, they did shows at the sports club, which was pretty fun. And I remember standing at the top of the stairs where everybody passed by to go to the gym floor in full performance costume, V-neck down past my belly button, rhinestones, just crazy. I don't know. I do a lot of crazy things, but that's what it took, you know, and we were able to recruit and get enough members, students, to do it. I taught there for about a year, and then it made sense to move it out to other studios. So I just moved to various studio spaces, renting by the hour over time. The name is a really interesting story. I don't know if you knew to ask that, but it's actually a really good question. I was in a business development group online run by a guy named Lewis Howes, and it was called the School of Greatness Academy. Probably a lot of people know what it is. And it was, I think, his second ever group, and it was a Facebook group of 500 people who were working on their small businesses or startups, whatever it was. And I posted in there just to ask for ideas. And a lot of ideas came back, and somebody said, oh, what if it were movers and shakers, and then there could be like, the guys would be the movers and the girls would be the shakers, and I think it would be so cute. And it's kind of ridiculous, but fun and cute at the same time, and it seemed to make sense. So that was the birth of the name, Movers and Shakers. And then I think I had forgotten the comments about the guys being movers and the ladies being shakers until like 6 or 7 years later. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, that's what we want to do. And then we started actually calling them movers and shakers.
That's pretty cool.
And the phrase movers and shakers, you know, movers and shakers refers to people in the world who have impact and influence and make things happen in the world, you know, and it's a term that describes empowerment. And so I really like that for the Academy as well. Actually, the name is much deeper than just movers and shakers. Also, I realized about a year ago that mover sounds kind of like move her, and the job of the guys is to move her. So I tell them it's in their job title, and they actually have to do their job on the dance floor.
That's so awesome. Do you keep track of how many students in the academy?
I do.
You
The
do?
behind the scenes record keeping and
Yes.
administrative stuff is actually honestly very overwhelming, and it's a lot, and yeah, we keep track of everything.
So how many students and how many members in the team?
So I'll just say that thank goodness we've grown a lot over time, and we're incredibly grateful for that. And it's been a long path of about 10 years, and especially after the pandemic, we've grown more than I've ever seen before. At this point, for instructors, we have, I think, other than myself, 4 instructors on the team. They're all full-time professional dancers. That is our standard for anybody who teaches with the Movers and Shakers team. And I work with every one of them personally quite frequently so that we can really get aligned on all the technical details that we want to teach and the methods that we want to teach so that the students get a consistent experience across all the Movers and Shakers programs and they know exactly what they're getting. Administrative staff, other than instructors, I think we have about 10 people on the team at this point.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty intense.
Were there any of the students who was especially memorable, and why?
About 1 in every 200 students ends up really standing out in my mind and becomes somebody who I know that I'm going to become friends with. So my entire community is through dancing, and especially through Movers and Shakers. I don't really have much of a life other than this, honestly. It's all I do. These days, not even social dancing that much recently. It's really just focused on Movers and Shakers. So that becomes my circles, right? And it's just a lot of amazing, positive, wonderful people as a whole, and then naturally there's going to be a few there, like 1 in 200 who really stand out. One student came up to me, he said, I had the Tesla parked in front of the studio. He said, "Oh, I designed the battery for that car." And I knew instantly I was going to be friends with this guy. Yeah, it was just clear that there was a connection there, and a really smart guy, which I love, and I just knew we were going to be friends. That's a more recent example that stands out. And I'm sure I could come up with quite a few others.
What have you learned from your students?
What I've learned is that it's not really about dance most of the time. So dance, I believe, is the vehicle for joy, love, and connection. So I call it joy, love, and connection through dance. And, when I started, it was totally focused on dance. And it's still very focused on dance. I mean, we obsess over technique. We take it really seriously, what we're teaching students in class. But what I've learned is that for a lot of them, it's much more than that. It's about the community and the friendships. And so we really do a lot to create that for the students.
What do you think makes you outstanding salsa instructor and academy director?
So how am I supposed to answer this while being humble?
Right?
All right. It's details. My whole life and everything that I've done done things in a comprehensive and structured and methodical way. It's the way that my brain functions. So even when I was an only child for about 8 years and I played a lot of video games, even the way I would play video games, I would check every little thing and look at every wall and talk to every person. It was all the details, comprehensive, everything, right? It's exactly the same way that I've built Movers and Shakers, with programs that we take the structure so seriously and we focus so much on the details. So I think that's really an important part of what we give to the students. Also teaching strategy. I've had just a lot of just leadership experience in a variety of contexts in life and have studied it and taken very seriously how to communicate with students also, like what are for example, there's 14 strategies that I used to use when I was taking a lot of class to help me learn faster than probably most people in the room because I understood the strategies, which they could also learn and use. And a lot of those are the same strategies that we use when we teach. And we have a whole comprehensive kind of like modules and guidelines with instructors, and we talk about this and we practice together so that we're all using these same techniques. to help the students learn the material as quickly as possible. I think about value per second. So how much value is a student getting in every second of class, and how can we, in the most efficient way, give them everything, and give and give and give. And so that's a lot of what we explore and talk about together as instructors with the team.
How would you describe the difference in energy between a salsa class and night out dancing salsa?
One thing I can say is that we're really focused. One of our principles is that dancing should be the best part of the week. So I, again, take that really seriously. You know, we want students to have a good time when they're in class, no matter what. And, you know, maybe I'll show up to class and I won't feel very good because maybe I've been on the computer for 12 hours and I feel like a zombie and I just showered and ate for the first time 30 minutes ago and I'm kind of grumpy, and it doesn't matter. The students don't care about that. I'm there to deliver something, so I will deliver no matter what, every single time. Last year, I literally rolled off my car off a cliff in Malibu and almost died. A very traumatic, upsetting experience. And then the next day, I came to class and I taught, and I delivered because that's our role. You know, we are, honestly, we're a service provider for the students. So.
What was the question, right?
What was the question, right? All right. So the question was, how would you describe the energy, right?
Yes.
So the point of the story is that no matter what, we're focused on creating a great energy in class. Now, of course, a bigger class is going to be more energetic, right? Or if they've known each other for longer, they're going to be more chatty in class, right? But we're always pushing for that high energy and positivity in class. Now, a night out dancing depends who's in the group, depends on the venue, depends on the night. You know, they could have the night of their life. They could have a traumatizing night where somebody walks away from them during the dance. So I'd say there's maybe a lot of variety for that one.
Yes. If you could dance only one salsa song till the end of your life, what would it be? I know about bachata. I know your bachata.
You know my bachata song?
That you always play, that one I hate.
Is it a remix?
No, remember that's a slow one. You always play like super slow. It starts with the chatting people and the tables.
Oh yeah, would, for me, I would have played. That's for a teaching song, the slow one. I know. I think it's Tu Sin Me.
Yes, exactly.
The bachata.
Don't look
Bachata version. No, it's slow. It's for teaching.
Okay, what's your salsa?
The salsa song I would dance to.
But which one?
Gosh. And I would have to keep listening to it.
Yes.
Forever.
Well.
Tú con él. Because it's kind of like the theme of my life also, like a lot of sadness and like you with him. So you know, after listening to that song for so many years, still not tired of it. So I could go with that.
I think like 80% of salseros would pick this song.
Know that song, right?
Yes.
It's so popular.
Yes.
It's a good dancing song too.
Yeah, that's actually amazing. If you could have a dance-off with any historical figure, who would it be?
Michael Jackson. I mean, he'd kick my ass, but it would be a hell of an experience. I would just let him do his thing, and then I would do my best to keep up.
You never met him?
Have I met Michael Jackson,
yes.
Or had I met him?
Yes.
No, I never had the chance to meet him.
But he was around, right?
Oh yeah, he's around.
When I came first, I met Brad Pitt of course, in the red carpet.
Brad Pitt?
Yes, Brad Pitt, Quentin Tarantino, and another guy, Leonardo DiCaprio, and this Margot. It was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it was like this premiere or something, red carpet, and they were all like right in front of me.
All together.
Yes, and it was so high energy. That's how I realized like why people love them so much, because it was like so amazing. I was like, yeah, screaming.
What a great LA experience.
It is a great LA
especially
experience.
Moving here, being new to Los Angeles.
Yeah, but the time I was traveling, it just was a vacation.
Oh wow.
It was so amazing. So it seems to me that you are in the right place and doing what you love, and you are pretty successful. Do you think we create our destiny, or everything is predetermined?
Ooh, I love this question. I say it's a combination of both. First thing I want to say to that is I would not wish upon anybody to become the director of a dance academy or build a dance academy. It is a really difficult business. It is a really, honestly, challenging life. I don't recommend it. I really don't.
Don't do it.
Honestly, that's the truth. Now, if that's the case, why and how did I end up on this path, right? It was not my intention. So in terms of destiny, as you said, I do believe that dance chose me and I did not choose dance. And what I mean by that is so many times in my life, dozens literally in my 12 years in LA, I've gone in different directions for what I want to do, for a business I want to build, or just my financial path, right? So I build this, I build that, I do this job, all these things. And all of those things, either I stopped them very quickly or they worked out okay, they were so-so. But the way that I see it, I imagine my path is that I would get a little bit off track and then I call it a cosmic slap, right? So the universe would go, no, back to dancing. Oh, I don't want to. Over here. No, back to dancing. Over and over, recalibrating me, right? A cosmic slap. And it was like dancing was the thing that worked, and it always worked from day one, and it worked more and more as time went on. And the more seriously I took it, the more it worked, right? So I really believe I didn't choose dance, and I often fret about that. I think, oh man, life would have been so much easier on a number of other paths.
Yes.
Honestly, I really didn't expect this. So in that sense, I think the destiny was kind of handed to me. But you also asked about creating our own destiny. Okay, now that I'm on this path, how far will it go? How much will it grow? How much good will we do? And for how many people? 100%, that's going to be in my hands, in our hands, the team's hands. Absolutely, right? So it's all about the education. I'm constantly educating myself how to do better, be better for the people. The decisions along the way have a big impact, make a big difference. So in that sense, now that I've accepted my fate, the more
still resist.
There's honestly still resistance in there. But now at least at this point, I'm completely all in on this is truly all I do. That is creating the destiny within this lane, I would say.
That's awesome. So can you give us any advice or share your life credo? What's this credo?
Life credo?
Credo, okay.
Yeah. Advice on what topic specifically?
Just life-wise.
You get out what you put in. Yeah. So I like to, I've always been pretty extreme with pretty much any activity, and I like to just give a lot of effort to pretty much anything I do, including having fun. When we throw parties, like we threw a party last weekend, like we took it pretty seriously, organized it pretty well, and turned out pretty nice, right?
Yes.
Really, you get out what you put in with anything in life. So, and we're only here once, well, as far as we know, maybe not, but that's all I know. That's all I see at this moment. So, I think we should just have the adventure and put all we can into whatever we do so that we can have beautiful experiences.
So tell me more detailed about how you almost died before the class.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how I've made it this far in life. I'm pretty young, relatively speaking,
right?
But I don't know how I've made it to this age. I have had so many serious, debilitating injuries, so many insane situations. It's like, how many lives can a cat have? Honestly, I feel like I'm living not even my second chance, 9th, 10th chance, and everything is a bonus at this point.
So everything tried to kill you or what?
Yeah, or I don't know, I'm too wild and put myself in crazy situations. I'll give you an example. Terrible situation in the Middle East right now. I used to live in Jerusalem, and there was also a war at that time. Bombs falling, all sorts of things. Dangerous situation. I used to live in Tokyo, and I was there during the giant earthquake in 2011 and the tsunami and the nuclear meltdown. I had to leave because of the nuclear meltdown 100 miles north of Tokyo. That's crazy, and just experiences. I remember backpacking, crossing the border from one country to another in the Middle East in the middle of the night, and I'm alone and there's nowhere to sleep. Just crazy stuff, and a lot of broken bones. I won't even go into all of them over time in my youth, my extreme sports days. But the most recent time where I truly almost died, I don't even know how I'm still alive after this. I was driving in the canyons in Malibu in a little convertible fun sports car. And I actually rolled sideways off of a cliff about maybe 6-ish times with the top down. And when I went off the side, I just thought that was it. Yeah, I mean, couldn't see what was down the other side. I mean, I really thought that was it. But I put my head down, put my hands over the head, and I remember brush coming up into the car again and again every time I flipped. And I think because it had been raining a lot, I think that saved me because that was able to slow the car down as opposed to just rocks, right, and no foliage. And then it landed about 45 degrees upside down, so I was kind of like hanging upside down with the seatbelt. I was able to unclip myself, get out. The phone automatically called 911. Fun tip. Well, these phones have safety features now, right? So if they sense the impact, then they'll call 911.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I was able to hike out. And the only injuries I had were a small cut on my my eyelid, very minor concussion, and terrible poison oak on my legs for 30 days after. So I couldn't sleep after hiking out. It's just an absolute miracle that I'm still alive after that.
So
yeah. So after that, I isolated. I went to Joshua Tree, rented an Airbnb alone, and just wrote a lot of the deeper questions in life. And one interesting thought I had about that is, I thought, how did I feel about the thought of dying? What if I had died in that moment? And I actually realized I would have been okay with it. And the worst part about it, I mean, once I'm dead, from my perspective, I'm not going to feel it anyway. Whatever, you're gone, you're gone. The worst part about it would have been, the upset it caused for family, friends, people around me. I don't want to create that hurt for anybody, right? But I just felt like, I have lived fast and hard. I've done a lot of things in my life, had a lot of experiences. And even though I'd love to have another good 40, 50, 60, 70 years of great experiences, as up to this point, I've done a lot, and that would have been okay also if that had happened, which in some ways is liberating. I'm very grateful that I'm able to say that and really feel that, and it's not the reaction I would have expected. So I get more careful every year.
Getting old, aging, that's how we age in.
Yeah, maybe getting a little wiser.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm way more calm and in control than I used to be. And I will do my best to stay alive and healthy and mobile for as long as I can.
Yeah, we need you here. So.
Thank you.
Stay with us. Okay, Danny, thank you so much for such a wonderful conversation. I wish you success. I wish successful movers and shakers, and I wish you all the boldest dreams, find the way to be realized.
Thank you so much. That was fun. I enjoyed. Sandals. Should I put shoes on?
I don't think that there is shoes on the camera, but we just try.